Ripple has just infiltrated Solana, is what it is seeming like. Not infiltrated, but I see these guys coming together. Ripple's Luke Judges and Vibhu. Remember Vibhu? How could you not? This dude was the ultimate XRP hater. He still is, I think, secretly in his soul. Will be speaking at the Solana Breakpoint 2025, December 13th. The title of the session is Hex Trust. They even have a room named Lock In. We're gonna lock in. So they've obviously been hyping up or just using it for engagement to now get eyes on their event. And if it was just a ploy just to get, like, you know, eyes on their event is what it seems like, because I don't see giant news coming out from this. Yeah, obviously great connection, Ripple's there, but he's on behalf of Hex Trust. I don't know, would that be because Ripple and Hex Trust? So it says Luke Judge is a global partner success lead at Ripple Labs, is not directly an employee of Hex Trust, but is involved through Ripple's partnerships. It says Ripple invested and collaborated with Hex Trust to enhance its digital asset custody and staking services. It suggests he'll be discussing Hex Trust's role in facilitating, securing institutional grade solutions, likely tied to Ripple's interest in interoperable blockchain ecosystems. His participation highlights Ripple's strategic alignment with Hex Trust to support compliant and secure DeFi infrastructure, leveraging his expertise in blockchain. That this would be the place to do it. I go back and forth with this because I just you never get your hopes up, dude. We talk about this all the time. It's waging your bets, you know? That's what it comes down to. Everything we've thought in this space has been a lie in terms of what we think would happen price action wise. That doesn't obviously come down to this because we're tapped in. It is beyond bullish news every single day. That is actually crazy. This is what Luke Judge's profile picture is. James Bond. Because when I was reading about his role, he's the relationships guy. He's Ripple's relationships guy, which is a huge role, dude. So if you're fucking doing this beautifully, networking on the business's behalf in terms of this, and he pulls a partnership like this off, holy shit, that is a good partnership guy to have on your team, dude. That would be fucking clutch. Obviously, the whole business apparatus of Ripple is probably behind it too, but this would be a beautiful moment, man. He's there, and he fucking announces some type of back and forth, and that would be the ultimate move / psyop too, dude. Imagine if it was, just say it was all planned, like the whole world's a stage type shit. I remember when Vibhu rolled up on the scene and he waged war on the XRP army. I tapped into his X Live, whatever it is, like the live stream where he can talk to other people, space. And it was just giving me a headache because he didn't necessarily, he just has this crazy bias, and then he's on Paul Barron and you could just see he's like uncomfortable, the bias. Like, imagine they throw him out there, that's his perception, waged war on the XRP army. He honestly did a better job of getting eyes on Solana. That's how you do it. This is exactly how you do it, bro. You're like, you pull this fucking partnership off, and the two worlds come together and everybody's homies again. Oh my god. What a moment. Yet again, this is pure speculation if you could not tell. We're just sitting here shooting the shit. These are always just my first time seeing these things too. So a lot of the time I'm not necessarily sitting and pondering on it for a bit. These are kind of off the dome. So I know people watching, they get triggered and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck? You didn't know this?" This is just one take, bro. There's no reshoots in life. And Luke Judges is the ultimate guy to do it, dude, because I forget if we went through this. Most XRP folks probably assume I'd hate Solana now that I'm a Ripple. Truth is, a lot of the newer crowd doesn't know I built 2 startups in the Solana ecosystem and ran a validator with 30 million staked. Wow. Living through the ride from 200 to 8 back up earns real trust. We might have read this, but it's important with this context now. Solana's far from perfect. Validator count is dropping fast right now, but it has a I remember that word, pragmatism, and speed that XRP and every other L1 can learn from. No point burying your head in the sand pretending you're the only chain in town. We're already seeing the Ethereum Foundation yep, we read this. Okay. Yeah, I didn't fully know his role the first time we read this, so now seeing this definitely sheds a more interesting light. Oh shit, he would be the guy to do it. He's that good. Yo, he knows the competition. He knows what he's up against, dude. This is a James Bond moment. He's gonna be fucking parachuting in Warzone this is a cool building, by the way. You give credit where credit's due. That's awesome. That is so sick. What would make this even crazier? I don't know why they would do this. This would just be a waste of money, but you ever see these high-tech drone shows? Oh my god, that'd be Unbelievable. Solana. Oh, that'd be the ultimate way to announce it. Drone show. Fucking high quality. Solana. Zoom, zoom, XRP. Like some shit like that above the fucking that. Everyone would go, it'd be crazy. Start causing some panic. You're like, oh my God, there's something flying above the building. People start getting freaked out. You're like, come on, we gotta go see it. And then bang. All right, so Bitwise just opened the door to index funds. This gets bigger than you can imagine. Hashdex, NASDAQ, Index, XRP. Yeah, I read this. This was crazy. 74 weight for Bitcoin. And six, and even less for Solana, 3. Oh, poor Chainlink. Oh, and Stellar. Oh, man, Stellar at the bottom. Wow, you really put Cardano above Stellar? Wow, that's fucking crazy. Yo, honestly, my allocation for my perfect... I mean, yet again, you don't need to like wait on these products. You could just buy and allocate yourself. But 74 in Bitcoin is, ooh. Obviously, you can look back in a week and maybe Bitcoin rips again. I think it might, you know? I'd say it's more likely than not, just for the fact that all these guys would be coming in, like Schwab and BlackRock's in and everything, and they got the product allocation. They're going to want to milk that pony. And then we got 21 just coming out with the backing of Contour and the Lutnicks. And all that. And that's what's insane, going back to a bunch of videos we've done, and we've seen the likes of Kevin O'Leary and shit, and his constant flip-flop and yo-yo balling around on the subject matter. And I remember we saw at the Contour conference, literally sitting at one table next to each other. It was Paolo Ardonio, Bo Hines was next to Brad, I believe, and then it was one person, maybe a Winklevoss or something, and then Kevin O'Leary. Yeah, Kevin, yeah. I'm sure Kevin doesn't know anything about that at all. At all. Yeah. I find that very hard to believe. And yet again, maybe he truly doesn't. He thinks that XRP, he thinks of all of them because he doesn't even mention any other ones. You kidding me? I'd put XRP, Solana, Chainlink, and Stellar top 4 allocation weight-wise. Then you can get into the nitty-gritty. Those would be the 4 that I'd put. XRP, Sol, Chainlink, Stellar. The golden 4. That's my golden 4. Yet again, there's other ones out there. People freak out in the comments. Yo, you're not buying XYZ coin? I don't fucking know what XYZ coin is. Dude, we're at this stage of the game where they're putting this out to the public. They're going to try to put the most trustworthy product because they got a brand to build. These are that's a good reference, you know, for which ones might. Never financial advice. These ones might do well. Oh my God, they are being, you know, the products are now officially with the fucking Wall Street stamp of approval on them for these products. But no, they're going to sit around and buy fucking Fupa coin. That's exactly what they're going to do, right? They've had the casino. The casino is still going to be the casino at the end of the day, but we're rolling up on the pen to paper, and we got Cynthia Loomis apparently out there really claiming that, oh, we'll have the market structure done in 2 weeks. If that happens, that's massive. I really do not think that will happen. That would be the surprise of the century, though. Holy crap. If they could really... I thought they'd go... Wow, we're already at December 10th. So this would be Fed rate cut today. We have the Japan rate decision around the 19th. And she's saying they could get it done. There's no way you're getting that done before Christmas. Before they leave on their fucking 97th vacation. Talking something as important as the next financial system. You kidding me? Like, yeah, we're going to put it on ice. Yeah, keep putting it on ice. What the fuck are we doing, man? Not to say people shouldn't get breaks and shit, but it's like with the amount of bullshit, they screw the American people over. Yet again, it's not as easy. I gotta remind myself that. It's literal Game of Thrones. There's a show with Kevin Spacey that apparently portrays how a lot of this backroom nasty politic game works. So this is Reese Witherspoon on, what is this, what is that? Oh, live from Abu Dhabi.
By Abu Dhabi's Financial Services Regulatory Authority, essentially paving the way for authorized institutions to use it for regulated financial activity within ADGM. Well, let's get more on this. Reese Merrick is here. He is the Managing Director, Middle East and Africa at Ripple, joining me around the desk in Abu Dhabi. Reese, welcome to the program. Good to have you on today.
Hi, great to be here.
First and foremost, what does this approval actually allow Ripple to do that you couldn't...
Wait, this morning? Oh, this is this morning? I thought that, wait, I thought we saw, oh, shit.
I mean, firstly, what this does, it further validates kind of Ripple's value proposition here in the region, and a compliance-first approach as it relates to issuing our own stablecoin, RLUSD, the back end of last year. And really what it allows and gives comfort to do is for ADGM licensed entities to be able to utilize RLUSD within their flows, within their operations, which is a great step forward for Ripple, great step forward for the region.
Significant step forward for the region. And as I just mentioned, we have seen Abu Dhabi and the UAE becoming a real hub for digital assets. So the fast track of this approval is something to celebrate. But at the same time as well, I want to understand what it means for the business, because within the stablecoin sector, what we see is USDT, USDC really dominating this industry right now. Of course, both much larger and more widely used. So what differentiates RLUSD from those other major players, and what can your stablecoin do that they can't?
Compliance.
Firstly, take a step back. I would say that when we were looking to enter this market, what we wanted to do is come with a compliant, regulatory-first approach. Which
Compliance.
Is essentially to the gold
troubles.
Of regulators with the New York Department of Finance who regulate the issuance of RLUSD back end of 2024. What it means, though, is when you look at the stablecoin market, it's around $300 billion today. You notably kind of pointed out the two that kind of dominate in that space at the moment. But we believe this market is going to be moving into the trillions. We think it's going to be a big market, and there's share for everyone. What I would say is kind of how we're looking to differentiate from a Ripple perspective is we want to be able to be the gold standard for institutions to adopt this stablecoin. We've made a couple of acquisitions this year where RLUSD will play a big role. G-Treasury, a treasury management solution that essentially sees how Fortune 500 businesses are moving trillions of dollars between their own operations. And I can tell you that since we have made that announcement of acquisition, we're having so much inbound where we're seeing real institutions looking to do the benefits of what RLUSD can provide to their business operations.
Just on scale, RLUSD has about 1.2 billion in circulation, as I understand it. That's tiny compared to Tether, which has about 120 billion. So how do you compete in a market where scale is everything?
And a lot of it on Ethereum.
Again, Ripple started as a payment institution in terms of providing technology. We've since gone down the licensing route. We were actually earlier this year approved as the first blockchain-enabled payment solution provider in the DFSA, which is great. We've done $95 billion in terms of turnover through our payment product, which utilizes XRP and XRP Ledger. So really, we're looking at how we can solve real-world utility for cross-border payments, and we see RLUSD as a natural step there. We were getting a lot of demand from our customers to make payouts in stablecoins, so naturally it fits within our current flow, and we do see the scale as it comes on. We look at another acquisition.
I liked when Brad mentioned on stage, I forget where, but he said at one point Ripple was minting about 20% of all of the USDC.
Freedom Road, now Ripple Prime, who are also in the ADGM. They turn over $3 trillion in prime brokerage. Again, we're looking to incorporate RLUSD into those flows. So we're seeing through our acquisitions, through our existing payment business, that the flow and the scale will come for RLUSD as well.
This week at Abu Dhabi Finance Week, we've been having a lot of conversations about the crypto industry and about what's happening with stablecoins. I was at a CNBC CEO roundtable lunch yesterday, and of course, this really dominated the topic on the agenda at that lunch. And I think two things really emerged for me. Number one is there's still a huge lack of understanding about how this industry works and why it exists. And then number two, huge gaps in trust as well, Reese. So what are you doing to address those issues? Not just to improve the understanding of the stablecoin industry, but to make sure that people can actually believe in its utility.
I think first and foremost, trust is paramount, and that's why, as I mentioned before, getting approved by the regulator NYDFS.
They got regulated by everything.
Trust with other regulators like the ADGM, like the DFSA, to firstly approve RLUSD as a stablecoin to be used within their ecosystems. I think as well, when you look at it, cross-border payments flow. I think 50% of all payments are made in dollars, right? So a lot of those payments, do not actually go to the US. So therefore, it's quite inefficient and slow for payments to be made through the traditional channels. We believe that with the right regulation, with the right coverage and governance, and certainly how we're operating, the trust can be built in order to make and have real utility. And actually, you mentioned before, every conversation has been dominated around stablecoins. I think that when these large financial institutions, these large corporates start to see the benefits of their business, they're certainly going to see that kind of hockey stick growth.
Double down.
What's your message to the global banks and the fintechs then, as they see this industry continuing to evolve? And of course, regulators, the more forward-thinking regulators, also actively looking to ensure that the development of this ecosystem continues to move forward.
Look, I think there's no bank, financial institution, payment entity that is not thinking, talking, or incorporating a stablecoin strategy. And quite frankly, if they're not, they will get left behind. I think that we're certainly seeing a lot of interest, not only in the region, globally. The Genius Act in the US has really allowed and paved the way for some of the largest global financial institutions to play in this space. And I think you'll see a continuation of that.
Very, very interesting that he's also in Abu Dhabi the time of the Seoul conference.
Abu Dhabi's financial services regulatory.
Shut your face, Chip Carlson. I wonder if he has mentioned that he is going to the Solana thing. Oh, Abu Dhabi had Finance Week. Oh, interesting. How did I miss that? Do I even follow this guy? I think I just followed him. Very interesting. Yo, I gotta start doing that with my haircut. What a savage, bro. What a savage. Oh, this dude's trying to say, Vecna is the symbol for XRP. Look at this. Because Binance posted this, and then they were like, oh, holy shit. There's an X on his cheek, bro. Oh, man. Yo, Palantir just secured 448 million contract with the Navy. I got no idea if that's true. That's fucking wild, though. No. What is this? Every day you see one more card. Is there a card? Wait, the ace. Where's the ace? Oh no, I'm getting scared. I don't see a card here. Nice. Flip the switch, David, in response to Solana. And then Rich says, I think if David was the switch flipper, he would have flipped it already. The waiting is the hardest part. And then David said, every day you see one more card. And then this guy responded with the ace and the knight. But I don't know what the reference, like, why is he the ace? Is he going for the final piercer? This is the best bearable guy one when they're sieging the castle. Yeah, guys, be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications to help out the YouTube channel. Guys, I'm going to continue this video on over in the Patreon right now. There are some crazy stuff I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through the elites, secret societies, and dark teachings that rule the world. And then there's this one I got to go through, David Icke in 1991. We're still learning about him. And then from Not Financial Advice, one of his episodes, he goes, an episode of the X-Files about the Holy Grail of computing shows 589 on the computer in 3 different ways, and its developers toured with the Grateful Dead. I'm going to go into this right now over on Patreon. I'll meet you over there. Link in the description right now.